Star Comes to Earth, in my opinion, kind of holds up pretty well. What I mean is it's fun, and it does get straight to the point pretty fast. Though, that does kind of hurt the pilot too, because you have a lot to do with a few minutes to leave time for 1B. I always thought the pilot should have been one whole episode. Let me explain why later. First, let's talk about the episode poster. I always found it interesting that every poster looks a little bit like fan art because it's a different style than the way they look like in the actual show. Not that I think that's a bad thing if that's what you're thinking. It makes me laugh because Earth is crushing Marco in a comedic way and Star's on top of the world. It really tells us that Star is going to turn his world upside down. So let's start the review. The episode starts off by showing Muni Castle. I love the design of this castle. I like how the world is so pink and unique. I think it's funny how the episode tries to make you think that it's gonna be just like any other fairy tale, especially with Star saying, "Far, far away in a magical land called Muni, lived a princess, Star Butterfly." Just look at that stuck-up face trying to trick us, but nope. Coming down the railing is our hyper fun-loving princess, Star Butterfly. I find it quite an accomplishment that the episode shows us everything we need to know about her in seconds. She's reckless and irresponsible, and she fights monsters. Yep, Star in a nutshell. After we're introduced to our protagonist, she tells us that she's 14. I know another character with this upbeat personality, hair length, and age. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know that Star vs. the Forces of Evil is very closely inspired by Sailor Moon and various other magical girl animes, but that doesn't mean I can't mention it, which I might be doing frequently while I review these episodes. I mean, her mother is named Moon. Usagi's mother, Queen of the Moon Kingdom, has the same hair color like Moon's. And her wand looks quite similar to Sailor Moon's Season 3 wand. Look! However, the most interesting thing that sets it apart is if it's held by someone else, it changes appearance. If you're a magic user, that is. That's a pretty cool idea. I love that. Later, it changes appearance again while it's held by another character. Anyway, Moon warns Star that owning the wand is risky, and she has to be responsible with it. Once Star has it in her possession... Wait a minute. Star's wand looks very similar to Sakura Kinomoto's second wand from Cardcaptor Sakura. Okay, whatever, moving on. So, once she has the wand, she tells her parents she can handle it. Yeah, remember, she's irresponsible. After we're shown that she almost destroyed Muni, Star's things are being packed up into a carriage in the next scene. Star begs not to be sent away because she fears it will be the terrifying St. Ogo's Reform School for Wayward Princesses. This school will be referenced many times after this. But her father River tells her that she's going to be sent to Earth to train. It's never clearly explained why they chose to send her to Earth except them vaguely saying because it's safer. It's almost like they want to get rid of her by dumping her onto Earth. Totally Mother and Father of the Year. But if by at this point you're interested in the episode, you find yourself not really caring. So by using dimensional scissors, this certain magical item would be brought up many times throughout the series, they bring her to Earth, while that creepy monster known as such at first glance watches. Now, first time I saw this episode, I was a bit disappointed about how things were escalating this quickly because I did want to see more of Muni before Star went to Earth. This is one of the reasons why I wish this was one whole episode. On the bright side, this does bring us closer to our second protagonist, who gets introduced very soon after this happens. Next, Star's parents get her registered into high school. At first, the principal is unsure about letting Star in because of her weirdness, but all Moon and River have to do is just give him money and jewels, and he's buttered. I guess buying your child a place in school is fine, and with her having little intelligence about Earth School means absolutely no problems for her whatsoever. Star being amazed by Light Switch claiming its magic doesn't raise any red flags at all. And don't tell me Moon and River don't know what a Light Switch is either. Moon looks unimpressed by Star switching on and off like that. Literally, right after that scene, Moon and River leave their daughter in an unknown dimension and are not seen again after this. At least not until Moon is seen again through Star's magic mirror in the second episode. At first I thought this was odd and left me questioning whether Star's parents are actually good parents. I mean, my mom would never do this to me. Now, you could argue that they're teaching Star to have independence, but it's still a bit odd to me. At least they asked for a guide. Speaking of which, after that happens, we are introduced to our second protagonist, Marco Diaz, a misunderstood bad boy wannabe, or so this episode claims. I'm sorry, but this scene is pointless. It is never brought to the audience's attention again. Marco's called to the office and makes a big deal out of it, saying the people who voted him safest kid must be feeling pretty embarrassed. Oh yeah, people never call him safe kid ever again, that's for sure. They don't even call him that in this episode. At all. Well, except for the principal. But that's not even a student. Watch to that, Marco quickly tries to remind him that he's a misunderstood bad boy. Yeah, right. Marco's too adorable. The principal even says so. And so he leaves Star in Marco's not exactly ready hands. And let's just say he's less than happy. So Marco shows Star around while he continuously drills into our heads that he is known as the safe kid, while trying to keep Star from hurting herself. But him doing all that doesn't necessarily mean he's overly safe. All he did was wear a helmet in the shower once. If the showers are that slippery, that's not exactly a bad idea. I myself am very clumsy. So Marco tells Star that he wouldn't mind a little danger. Star gives him a little taste of it, and he seems like all talk and no action. Marco hides behind Star while the butterfly monster thingy flies away with some poor kid. Oh yeah, by the way, we never find out what happens to that kid. So, in uneasiness, Marco asks who she is, even though the principal already told him. Yeah. She replies with, "I'm a magical princess from another dimension," while she makes a rainbow that catches fire. Seeing this, Marco says he's going home and books it as fast as he can. After that craziness, Marco arrives home to see Star with his parents, and Star is ecstatic to see him. His parents announce to him that she's going to be living with them as a foreign exchange student. With Marco's expression here, you can tell that he is thrilled. Marco's parents to me are okay, I guess. They're nice people, but they pay very little attention to Marco's life. They never ask what antics their son gets into with Star. Marco pretty much doesn't have to tell them anything. They don't pay much attention unless it's brought to their attention that they don't pay attention. At least they touch upon that a little in the Season 1 finale and in a Season 2 episode way later on. They say that Star's upbeat personality is just what they need around the house. Marco tells them that they could have gotten that from a litter of puppies. Star loves puppies, so she makes them with her wand. They turn out to be less than normal. But, surprisingly, Marco's parents keep the destructive cuties anyway. By now, you can tell that Marco's parents will let Star get away with pretty much anything. They tell Marco to help carry Star's things into her new room. He does, and watching them just outside is the monster from before. We later find out that his name was Buff Frog. He uses dimensional scissors to go to the castle of his master. Does everybody in Muni have dimensional scissors? I'm starting to wonder. Buff Frog tells his master that Star's parents have left Star on Earth unguarded. Which is kind of true. Star is a princess. A little weird that her parents would just leave her alone without a bodyguard or something. Yes, in a few scenes we find out that Marco knows karate, but we don't know it at this time. Stop making me think Star's parents don't care about her. Damn it! At first when we see his master, his appearance is a mystery to us, and we only see his eyes. He turns his chair and we see him for the first time, and we see this little guy, Ludo. He's kind of a joke. My first impression of Ludo was, well, yeah, a joke. He seemed more of a joke than Dr. Draken from Kim Possible. But sometimes I don't give Dr. Draken enough credit. Later I'll be proven wrong about Ludo. Anyway, Ludo explains his evil plan. It's pretty standard. Take Star's wand and take over the world.
Of course!
Yeah, that's right. I stole your joke, nostalgia critic. Next scene, we're in Star's new room, and she embellishes it a little bit, which creates a huge hole in the roof. Of course Marco's parents are okay with it. I mean, why wouldn't they be, right? Marco is impressed by the change of the room and says he wishes he had a room like it. Star goes to his room and tries to give him a change of scenery, with a completely different spell that creates a black hole. Come on! Now this bothers me a little. Star before is shown to suck at using her wand. Yeah, sure. But you'd think that she'd be able to say the exact same spell for Marco's room right after saying it for her room. The spell she used for her room was Sparkle Glitter Bomb Expand. The spell she used for Marco's room was Mystic Room Suck Transform. How does that sound anything close at all? Well, Marco of course yells at her and asks why the word suck was in that spell. I'd like to know that as well, Star. She says it just came out that way, but that's hardly an explanation. Out of frustration, Marco bangs his head on the door, and Star tries to cheer him out with sunshine. Of course this fails. Marco, being wet and having ripped pants by the puppies, has finally had enough and leaves the house. Oh, I mean jumps out the window. What the hell, Marco? The guy has probably been living in the house for 14 years. You'd think he'd be able to tell he was on the second floor or not. Your house has stairs, dude. So he falls and lands on cactuses, and doesn't break any bones? Ugh, whatever. Cartoon logic. There's a princess with a magic wand running around. I suppose he could get away with it. Star yells from the window asking if he's okay. Not wanting to deal with her anymore, he tells her to leave him alone and gets up, storming off, with the storm cloud following him. No pun intended. Next scene, we see that Marco has finally lost it. He's acting like some sort of drug addict while he's outside the store that he got kicked out of because of the storm cloud. Would have liked to see that happen, but we're running out of time, right? Then Star appears in front of him and he jumps out of fear of what she might do next. She surprisingly successfully gets rid of the storm cloud with her wand. Star starts to apologize to him. She tells him that she did not get a say in coming to Earth, and she gets that he didn't get a choice in having to deal with her. She tells him that she'll find some other family to live with, but before she can say anything else, Ludo and his monsters suddenly ambush them. Star asks Ludo how he knew that she was here, but he doesn't say. We don't have time for explanations. Ludo commands his minions to attack. Star looks ready for them, but out of nowhere, Marco jumps in front of Star and kicks the crap out of a monster. Now, I say out of nowhere because this new talent is shown to us literally comes out of nowhere. The only hint that we're given is the opening song. It really is a wonder why the kids at school call him Safe Kid. Maybe if Marco showed off his karate skills, they wouldn't call him that. That is, if they call him that. Sorry, but I'm still gonna dwell on that. So Star and Marco become a team and work together to beat the bad guys. There really is no contest in who will win. Marco has his baddest karate skills and Star has an unstoppable wand shooting spell after spell. The spell to finish it all off is the most used spell in the series, Mega Narwhal Blast. After the brawl, Star and Marco win. So Ludo and his minions retreat. Star and Marco agree that they were pretty amazing working together like that. They smile at each other for a second, but then it all comes back to her on how Marco was mad at her before and tells him that she should pack her bags. But Marco stops her and tells her that he does want her to stay with them. Star is overjoyed and hugs him. And this would be the start of a beautiful friendship and maybe something more in the future. That is for shippers who ship Starco. But don't get me started on that. Check out our other videos if you want to know what we think about Starco and other ships. Hope you enjoyed my Star Comes to Earth review. Look forward to my Party with the Pony review.